please remove your hats. And everybody please stand for the presentation of our flags by the Kosovo Security Force cadets, for the playing of the Kosovo National Anthem and the United States National Anthem. Please stand. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency the President, Honorable Prime Minister, Ministers and members of the Assembly, ambassadors, alumni and students, colleagues and friends. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to call to order this commencement ceremony. My name is Chris Hall, and I serve as the president of the American University in Kosovo. It is an honor to welcome you here today to this, the 8th commencement of the American University in Kosovo in partnership with the Rochester Institute of Technology. A.U.K was founded 9 years ago by a small group of visionary people, Kosovars and Americans, who understood that the future of this country rests upon the education of its young people. The vision for A.U.K was then and is now to provide a world-class American education here in Pristina at a fraction of the cost of the same education in the USA, but holding our students and faculty to the same high standards. It's my honor as President of A.U.K to recognize at the start of this ceremony our distinguished founders, trustees, and honored guests. Please help me get through this list by holding your applause until the end. In addition to our president, Ferid Murad, who will be speaking to us later, we've been honored by the Prime Minister taking time out of his busy schedule to join us on the platform. I also want to acknowledge several of the visionary founders of A.U.K who are here today. I see in the audience Dr. Buyar Bakoshi, Mr. Bejet Patsoli, Ambassador Dell, Ambassador John Menzies, Dr. Bayram Rejeki. Many people share the credit for the idea and the effort that led to the founding of this American university. We are privileged and honored to be supported by the leaders of Kosovo's public life, regardless of their political party. Many of you are here today to show support for our graduates, and they and all of our students, parents, alumni, and staff are grateful for your presence and continued support. I'm personally most grateful to the President of the Republic of Kosovo, Ferid Murad, for honoring us with her presence as part of our ceremony today. I have known the President since her distinguished service as a general in the Kosovo Police Service, and I cannot imagine a better role model for all of us, of integrity, love of country, and public service. She will speak to us in a minute. I'm proud of the support that A.U.K has received from Kosovo's leaders of government and society and business. They support A.U.K as a national center of excellence for this country. Our job is to live up to their high expectations. We will do this by setting the highest standards and expecting the same from our students. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished leaders of Kosovo, thank you for your support. Thank you. With us on the platform are two distinguished Americans, both medical doctors, and both people who have changed our world in significant but very different ways. We are honored to have Dr. Ferid Murad and Governor Howard Dean join us today, and we will hear from both of them soon. We also have on our platform today members of our Board of Trustees who have steered A.U.K for 9 years now, from its humble beginnings in a house on Sunny Hill to the point we've reached today. We're fortunate to be joined today by Ronald Kami, Dr. Vjosa de Bruna, Soren Jessen-Pedersen, Louis Sell, Rezat Spahia, Dr. Lindita Tahiri, and Dr. Michael Zukov. A.U.K's graduates make an impact here in Kosovo and in your other home countries. You are taking your place as future leaders of business, the professions, government and society. Not all our graduates have such prominent roles as, for example, Ramush Haradinaj, who earned his master's degree from A.U.K in 2007. But I know that all of you will, in your own ways, accept the great responsibility to build your country's communities, institutions, and society. The success of A.U.K depends in large part on its strong partnership with one of America's great universities, the Rochester Institute of Technology. We are honored to have both Dr. Bill Dessler, RIT's president, and Dr. Jeremy Hafner, RIT's provost and senior vice president for academic affairs, here with us this year, along with our good friend Dr. Jim Myers, head of the RIT's Center for Multidisciplinary Studies, and newly appointed as the associate provost of international education and global programs at RIT. Welcome. RIT's and A.U.K's philosophies are the same: to provide an excellent education that is also practical, to give you, our graduates, an education that equips you to compete anywhere in the world, while giving you the hands-on skills that you can use in Kosovo to build this newborn country. You who are graduating today are joining over 112,000 other RIT graduates in New York and around the world. You should be very proud of your RIT degree, and I am very proud of you. Representing the A.U.K student body, I am proud to introduce the valedictorian of the 2012 graduating class, Donieta Sahachi. Now, without further ado, let me introduce Her Excellency Atifete Ayaga, President of the Republic of Kosovo. We are grateful for her support of A.U.K and her commitment to raising the standard of education for Kosovo youth. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to hand the floor to President Ayaga.
Nderuari President Hall, nderuari Kryeministër Thaçi, të dashur prindër që gjithsesi jeni krenar për suksesin e fëmijëve tuaj që sot po diplomojnë. Zonja dhe zotrin, mysafir të nderuar, të dashurit e mi që sapo diplomoni sot, urime. Kjo është dita juaj më e rëndësishme, kur po e përmbylli një kapitull të jetës suaj, që ju mundëson të hapni dyre përpara dhe të shfrytëzoni shanse të mëdha. Idealet të cilat ju sollën deri këtu, puna e palotshme, netët pa gjumë të këtyre 4 viteve në universitet, tani do të mund të shëndroni në vepra konkrete, që do t'ju bëjnë krenar juve, familjeve dhe vendin tonë. Derisa jam këtu para jush, po shoh sa shumë kemi ecur përpara. Ju sot nuk dalloni as pak nga kolegët tuaj në Amerikë apo kudo qoftë në Evropë. Jeni pjesë e komunitetit global, të etur për dije, të gatshëm të kontriboni në ndërtimin e një bote më të sigurt dhe një të ardhme më të qëndrueshme. Kjo ditë kur ju po diplomoni është e pakrahasueshme me ditën kur diplomova unë dhe kolegët e mi, apo kur prindit tuaj i kryen studimet universitare. Po kujtoj ditët në shkollë të gjeneratës sime, vullnetin për dije që ndani me kolegët e mi në një kohë të rëndë, me mundësitë e pakta e të kufizuara, dhunshëm për të zhvilluar më tej. Në një të kaluar, jo të largët, mësimi në shkollat shtëpi ishte mënyrë e rezistencës, ndërsa tash shkollën e shohim si mjet për të siguruar qëndrueshmërinë tonë si shtet. Në vitin 1999, në kampin për refugjat në Stenkovec, njëra ndër tendat e para që u ngrit u shndrua në shkollë. Kjo dëshmoj edhe njëherë përcaktimin tonë për të mos u ndalur përpara asgjëre dhe para askujt, në mbrojtje të identitetit tonë dhe në ndjekje të dijes. Ky përkushtim ndaj dijes, respektit për shkollën e njeriun e arsimuar na ka ndjekur gjithmonë. Krahas dallimeve në aspektin idealeve, këto 2 periudha që i krahasoj nuk janë aq të larta, sepse ato i karakterizojnë një gjë e përbashkët. Shpresa, dëshira dhe përkushtimi për të përparuar dhe për të vendosur vetë për fatin tonë. Por ky stadi i zhvillimit dhe ky përvetësim i vlerave më sublime që na bëjnë krenar për shoqërinë tonë, duhet të qohet tutje, sepse ne duhet të ndërtojmë përgjegjësitë individuale dhe kolektive për ta forcuar Kosovën tonë, për të ndërtuar një vizion të ri për vendin dhe për ta bërë atë më të mirë dhe më të dashur për të gjithë. Të dashur student, të gjithë po punojnë të ndërtojnë një të ardhme më të mirë për Kosovën. Një Kosovë ndryshe prej asaj në të cilën jetuam, ku secili qytetar, pavarësisht prej ardhjes etnike, fetare apo racore, i jepet mundësia të dëshmojnë talentin dhe punën e palotshme. Ju sot radhiten në mesin e eruditëve, me mundësi që të koni sukseset e investimit tuaj dhe të prindërve tuaj. Por, ajo që ju mbeshet me këtë diplom është petku i përgjegjësisë për vizionin dhe premtimin për ndërtimin e një të ardhme më të sigurt për ata që vinë pas nesh të jetësojnë. Përgjegjësia juaj është që të jeni qytetar aktiv dhe ndërmarrës inovativ. Të jeni pjesë e debatit për drejtimin që merr vendi ynë dhe të përsosni diskursin publik, të dëgjoni dhe të dëgjoheni, të argumentoni dhe të kritikoni hapur e zëshëm, të kërkoni përgjegjësi, të punoni bashkë, të siguroheni që vlerat tona shoqërore do të avancojnë, por para se gjithash, të jeni konstruktiv dhe të besoni në forcën tuaj për ndryshim, për përmirësim të mjedisit ku jetoni. Me të drejtë presim që energjia transformuese, parimet etike dhe përkushtimi për të shërbyer vendit tuaj, me të mirë si përgjithshme që keni besuar gjatë këtyre 4 viteve, që udhëheq edhe në hapat e mëtej të jetës suaj. Vazhdoni të jeni të guximshëm. Sfidat dhe dëshirësit kthejni në vullnet. Mos lejoni asgjë dhe askënd t'ju bëj të dyshoni në ëndrat dhe në qëllimin tuaj. Tani dëshiroj të ndaj me ju, të dashur student, thënien e një grua të fuqishme, presidentes së parë grua në kontinentin e Afrikës, zonjës Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, e cila ka thënë: "The size of your dreams must always exceed your current capacity to achieve them. If your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough." E di që kreni pritje të larta nga shoqëria jonë. E di që në shumë raste idealizimi juaj ka gjasa të thellët prej realitetit dhe pasigurisë në të cilën jetojmë si komunitet global. Por e di gjithashtu që realiteti mund të ndryshohet duke mbajtur lart idealet, duke besuar në fuqinë e veprimit dhe të ndryshimit. Natyrisht ndryshimet nisin nga ju, dhe ju do ta mbani mend për gjithmonë këtë ditë, sepse përmbushën premtimin e dhënë ndaj vetvetes dhe ndaj familjes suaj. Sot, unë dua t'ju inkurajoj që listës tuaj t'i shtoni edhe një premtim. Të jeni Zotë të ardhmës sonë të përbashkët. Punoni me njëri tjetrin, ndërtoni komunitetet të shëndosha, zhvilloni virtytet e utësisë, kurajës dhe drejtësisë për të gjithë. Në këtë mjedis, lindin lideret të cilët kanë aftësi dhe guxim të rrethejnë të vërtetat. Dhe tani nuk dua t'ju mbaj më shumë, sepse e di se menzis po pritni që t'i merrni diplomat e juaja dhe të filloni krejtën. Por, derisa mbani kokën lart tani, dua të ju një t'ju lë me një mesazh që do ta merrni me vete sot kur të ikni. Besoni në vetveten dhe fuqinë tuaj, e ardhmja është në duart e juaja. Ndërtojeni. Urime juve prindër krenar, urime stafit universitar dhe më së shumti, urime juve më të dashurive të mi, studentëve. Urime Kosovës që po bën në pllava të reja, ta gëzojmë.
Thank you, President Yayaga. We are honored by your presence with us here today and for your continued support as we celebrate this momentous day with our graduates and their families. I am Dr. Jeremy Hafner, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at RIT. It is my great pleasure to recognize a few of A.U.K's exceptional students who were recognized this year by RIT. This year, there are 9 students who have been awarded the RIT Outstanding Scholar Award, a testament to our A.U.K's hardworking and highly deserving students. Each of the students honored today has achieved the distinction of maintaining a minimum institute grade point average of 3.85 out of a possible 4.0. In addition, selection of the students was based on other factors of academic achievement, such as creative work, service on student committees, civic activities, employment, and independent research. Would each student please approach the stage as I call your name? Vishar Hachiu. Liarda Holly. Valdetta Yakubu. Valoria Shuku. Damietta Sehatiu. Victor Morati. Valon Betim Mehmete. Congratulations to these very commendable students and the entire graduating class of 2012. Well done.
Thank you, Dr. Hefner. My name is Brian Bowen. I'm the Vice President at A.U.K. of the RIT Academic Affairs. And commencement is always such an exciting time within the university, as it's all about celebrating our students' achievements. Today, it is my distinct pleasure to present to you the Valedictorian of 2012, Ms. Donieta Sahachu. Donieta, she's now earned a BS degree in Applied Arts and Science with professional concentrations in management and economics and statistics, and a minor in public policy. She currently works as a project manager and business process analyst at Rota Creative Studio, a leading market agency in Kosovo. She has also worked for 2 years at A.U.K Telecommunications as a product manager, being responsible for generating and managing products in the business and residential mobile telephony sector. Just a few of Donieta's accomplishments include representing Kosovo for the first time in the World Economic Forum in Davos, earning a marketing executive certification by SMEI, competing in the Harvard National Model United Nations in 2012, while also consistently making the Dean's List from 2008 until 2012. She was also the Vice President of the A.U.K Student Government for the academic year 2010 to 2011. Please join me in warmly congratulating Donieta and the entire A.U. class, A.U.K class of 2012.
Honorable Trustees, President Hall, Academic Director Bowen, esteemed instructors and advisors, respected President Yahyaga, Governor Dean, and other distinguished guests, beloved family and friends, gratified parents, I now welcome you in congratulating the graduating class of 2012. It is with greatest honor to be representing in this very special day of ours the fabulous, daring, and inspiring class of 2012. Just late last night, I flew in from RIT in Rochester, New York, and yeah, I'm probably still jet-lagged. I was extremely delighted to walk and then sit on stage holding the tall, traditional academic commencement banner with printed American University of Kosovo in it. To everyone that has asked me how it went, there's news. I haven't been that honest. Today, I must confess that I did cry on stage, and that that was not because I was feeling hostile and overly stressed, just like my RIT fellow graduate from the engineering department right next to me thought at first. I was overwhelmed with happiness and gratitude to have the ultimate fortune as a young Kosovar to be sitting there as part of something that we, the class of 2012, never quite truthfully reflected upon the past 4 years. You see, we're not just A.U.K, we're RIT, and we are part of a more than 1,100 student community from all around the world. Witnessing the exceptional RIT campus experience hit me hard enough to understand the meaning of the degree we're officially receiving today and the everlasting future opportunity pool when about to embark in a new, yet challenging, chapter of our lives as grown-ups. As in every other graduating A.U.K class, there are skeptics that think that they have not accrued sufficient theoretical knowledge which fellow peers from other universities might have had. Well, the RIT journey and almost 4 years of experience, thanks to my A.U.K achievements, show me that what we have accrued in 4 years of study at A.U.K embraces much more than that. In fact, we grew up mastering practice and learning ways to analytically learn and earn an interview, win a project grant, and contribute to a community in which these values are often academically perceived as implied. While a dozen of our class peers have already made plans for their big weddings coming up this summer, others are finishing their grad school applications and wrapping up to leave and conquer another university with brains and hearts. There am I, finding a best friend. The lovely couples that met in the A.U.K and are now happily in love. They are the KSF colleagues from Nobel Prize Shocker with a contemporary perspective in mind. And also, there is a dear friend of ours that is instead fighting for her life as I speak, and unfortunately couldn't be here with us today to share this moment. But we all jointly wish her to come back to this family stronger and joyful than ever before. When I was first given the A.U.K Valedictorian Class of 2012 award, I was advised to take my time, reminisce the top-lived moments of undergrad studies, and share them with you today. Instead, although I'm entirely conscious on the fact that I'm in no position whatsoever to give advices, let me quickly put out there a couple of rather unremarked moments. In the rush of learning how to outweigh stage fright during first presentations, deal with rather stressful registration times, attend 10 a.m. classes, submit one paper after the other, and call in all-nighters at the finals week, we thought more and felt less. We often argued with our parents who have had the largest problems ever, and that we need space. And sometimes even skip quality time family outings. Instead, we ought now take a moment to maybe not text or call, but go visit and share the facial emotions. Feel more. The pressure of knowing what do we want to become someday does not stop today. Çka do bësh kur të rritesh dhe të piqesh, well, certainly not a gabala fruit. Although some of you might have found a job, and others are seeking graduate degrees, there's this other cluster of people, including myself, that have not yet figured out what's next. Whatever we end up doing, we shall all keep in mind one thing. We will most certainly end up doing things we never thought we could do. We will end up choosing a career we believe in the most, the one that we think will shine in. And then, we might find ourselves being chosen from completely another career, and that's okay, no pressure. Do whatever you think doing will bring you the success you need and want, as long as you make sure to leave room for life to happen. Success is a journey and not a destination. So seize the journey all the way and continue rocking. May the prize begin. Cheers.
Thank you, Donieta. Always remember that you and your fellow classmates are about to become one of more than 700 A.U.K. alumni and over 112,000 A.U.K. RIT alumni. You've got a great network of support around the world, no matter where life takes you. Those of you who were at our commencement ceremony last year remember that we had a musical interlude led by our graduate Rona Nishliu. It's obvious from that applause that everybody in this hall knows about Rona's outstanding performance in Azerbaijan last week. Rona is here with us today. Of course, this is a wonderful celebration, and we're honored with distinguished guests and have the pleasure of recognizing outstanding students, staff, and faculty. But as the tension mounts, I'm going to suggest that to calm students' nerves and showcase one more person from A.U.K. with extraordinary talent, let's relax for a while and enjoy the beautiful sound of this year's graduating singing star, Hannah Sakuri.
the medical clinic.
Arthur, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, graduates, distinguished guests, it's an honor now to recognize a man who is an example of the greatness and the inclusivity of both America and the Albanian people. Dr. Ferid Murad, your father... Dr. Murad, your father was an Albanian shepherd who became an American restaurateur. He was Muslim. Your mother was Baptist. You were raised Catholic and joined the Episcopal Church in college. You're a distinguished physician, scientist, entrepreneur, and teacher. But for all your success and fame, you have never forgotten your roots, your family, and your culture. After working your way through college and medical school on scholarships and night jobs, you held increasingly responsible positions in medicine and research at some of America's great research institutions, including the National Institutes for Health in Washington, D.C., the University of Virginia, Stanford, where you served as head of medicine, Abbott Laboratories, the University of Texas at Houston, and since last year back to Washington at the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology at George Washington University. Your groundbreaking research in cardiovascular medicine led to important breakthroughs in cardiovascular care, saving the lives of many and earning you the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine in 1998. I know you didn't expect the same research to later become the basis for the development of Viagra. You succeeded in life, Dr. Murad, through your own efforts and your independent thinking. Your work has touched the lives of millions. Truly, you inspire us. I will now ask Dr. Diosa de Bruna to come forward and make a nomination for the award of Doctor of Letters honoris causa.
fellow trustees, President Dessler, Rose Hatton, Governor Dean, faculty, staff, students, and dear guests. For a lifetime dedicated to the betterment of humanity through science and medicine, for distinguished value of work recognized by the award of the Nobel Prize and many other awards, which has brought great credit not only to himself, but to the Albanian American community and Albanians everywhere. For the example he set of the personal accomplishment from humble origins and from his great personal integrity, on behalf of the trustees of the American University of Kosovo Foundation, and upon the nomination of the faculty of the university, I present Ferid Murad as a candidate for the honorary degree Doctor of the Letters.
Dr. Murad, Ferid, by the authority vested in me by the trustees of the American University in Kosovo, I now confer upon you the honorary Doctor of Letters degree, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, in recognition of which we now vest you with this hood and present you with this diploma.
But the introduction of Viagra prompted me to tell it. I think the research and technology that led to Viagra was rather trivial, actually. They're much more important things. Nevertheless, it's been a very popular and very profitable drug. And I'm sure I'll be remembered as the father of Viagra. Some years ago, I was in Hong Kong getting a lecture at the Polytechnic University, running between buildings, meeting faculty, and I was a little late to get to the auditorium for my own lecture. And as I was entering the building, there were a bunch of young lady journalists. And if you know the Chinese women journalists, they're rather aggressive. and got deadlines at the end of the day to get their articles written for the newspapers. And they really tried to block me and ask questions, and I said, I'm sorry, but I don't have time. And I sort of barged through, got on the escalator to go up to the auditorium. And this young lady was on my heels. And she said, are you the father of Viagra? And I was a little upset. I turned around to her and I said, no. The next day, the Hong Kong newspaper said, Dr. Murad says Viagra, not his son. President Hall, as President, Prime Minister, trustees, faculty, parents, friends, and of course the graduating class of 2012. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come here and participate in your ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2012. Today represents a very important milestone for you and your families. I know your families are very excited, very proud, but they're also delighted that their cash flow will now increase substantially. I want to paraphrase a quote from Bill Cosby. He said, I want to tell you some important things, but I know that you won't pay attention and you're going to forget them. To give a short lecture is very difficult. I can talk for an hour or two very easily, but to talk for 5 or 10 minutes is very difficult. Since receiving the Nobel Prize, I've traveled all over the world, given lots of lectures in many, many universities, and colleges, and medical schools, and meetings. It's been a delight. It's been a lot of fun. Very rewarding, obviously, but very exhausting as well. And I do have a day job. I still work, I still teach, I have a laboratory. I enjoy it so much I'll never give that up. I want to tell you something about being prepared for your careers. There have been major technological advancements in the last 10, 20, 30 years. Just think of what it was like 30, 40 years ago with regards to no cell phones, no computers, no internet. Look how fast all that's developed. And I can assure you that in the next 10, 20, 30 years, the pace will accelerate. There'll be many interesting technological advances, and your lives will not be the same. There'll be lots of changes. And I think you have to learn to adapt to those changes. And I think that your education has helped prepare you for that. In order to prepare for what you're going to do in the future, I'd like to review for you several principles that I've lived by throughout my life. And there are about 5 items that I think are high on the list. The first is you should establish your goals as soon as you can and be prepared to modify them as you get more education and training and experience. But the sooner you establish those goals, I think the more successful you will be for a variety of reasons. You have to be prepared to work very hard. And that's something I learned growing up with an Albanian father. And I've come to realize that the Albanian work ethic is pretty remarkable. I've always believed that if you're a firstborn or a child of an immigrant from Eastern Europe or the Balkans, you're going to work very hard. It's just going to be true all the time. The third is be patient to get where you want to go. Don't be in a hurry. Because I think your educational experience and training is really the best time of your life. You can focus on what you want to do, you have a good time, you're learning an awful lot, making friends with a lot of colleagues. As you settle into that profession, your time is going to be limited, you're going to be pulled apart. My days are pretty wild. I can't think about something for more than 10 or 15 minutes before I have to switch to some other topic. Because of phone calls or meetings or whatever. Your quality of life, your income, annual income, and your net worth is going to be a function of how much education and training you receive. That's clear. It's very obvious. It makes a huge difference. You want to select a career path that is challenging, rewarding, but also one in which you can have a lot of fun and enjoy. You have to want to get up in the morning and go to work. You can't do that, maybe you can go to play. The other is you have to remember your family, your friends, your teachers, your mentors, and society who helped you get to where you're going. I want you to leave a big footprint of what you've accomplished. I was going to share a little bit of my background to show you how these principles influenced my career planning. But I think you've heard most of that. I'm not going to go over it again. President Hall told you about where I've been and what I've done. I'll tell you, however, that when I was 10 years old, I already knew that I wanted to be a doctor, a teacher, a pharmacologist, and a chemist. And that's exactly what I do. I do all of those things. And somehow at the age of 10, I knew that. And because of that, it put me in a course. And I deviated a little bit along the way, but not very much. I was planning to go to medical school. My parents expected that I would return home to White, Indiana, near Chicago, to practice medicine. But in my senior year of college, I became interested in research. And there was a new program getting started at Western University in Cleveland. There was an MD degree program and a PhD program combined, the MD PhD program. It was the first university in the world to combine the education of both disciplines. Instead of 4 years of medical school or 4 of graduate school, it was 7 of both at the same time. I joined that program. My parents were disappointed. I could tell they were disappointed. Although they never really told me what I had to do, but they did stress education. And I said, I knew I'm a scientist and a professor. And I knew they were a little concerned. I thought, well, how do I explain this to them? I said, if I come home as a doctor, in my lifetime, I can help maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people. If I become a scientist and an academic and do research, and if it turns out to be important, I'll be able to help a lot more. So that's what I did. I went off to the MD PhD program, got married, had 4 kids by the time I finished. I then did an internship, residency, fellowship, and everything. By the time I finished NIH, I had 5 kids. I was prepared to go on for a couple more years of training. With 5 kids, I used to work in the Cleveland Clinic delivering babies so I could buy groceries for the family. I used to sell blood. I'm probably a 5-gallon donor, either donating or selling over the course of my career. It was an exciting time. I enjoyed it an awful lot. And I wanted to train in either cardiology or endocrinology because it related to my research. And I called a professor in Washington University in St. Louis, who I knew. His research was similar to mine. And I said, "Would you take me on for a couple of years as an endocrinology fellow?" And he said, "Murad, I remember you got some kids. How many do you have now?" I said, 5. He said, "My God, time for you to get a job. Go to work, support your family." That's what I did. I've been very, very fortunate. And that what I've done has turned out to be important. I'm a big believer that research is working on the edge of the envelope, doing something that's never been done before. And if you're lucky, maybe it's going to become important. And I was fortunate that my research became important. We discovered that an interesting simple molecule mediated the effects of lots of hormones and drugs, including nitroglycerin and the other drugs. And we published that work in the late 1970s. Today, 35 years later, there are more than 100,000 publications in nitric oxide research. There are 70 or more biotech companies around the world, and every major multinational drug company has a project on nitric oxide. There are many, many drugs, clinical trials. There are going to be a lot more down in the future. And I think that's where the excitement's going to be. It's not going to be Viagra. Although I try to develop something for women now, I think that'll be easy. But I think there's going to be potential to treat bacterial diarrheas, to influence stem cell differentiation or transplantation, to treat cancers. So it's going to be an exciting discipline and fun. I've got a lot to do. I'll never retire. If I did, I'd go bananas. Let me, in summary, say, pick your goals, work hard for them, be patient, you gotta be a little flexible, and leave that big footprint. As a youngster, I developed a friend in kindergarten. We became the best of friends all the way through our careers. We're still friends today. I invited him to come along with 51 other people to Stockholm for the Nobel Prize ceremony. And at the end of the ceremony, we competed in everything we did. Grades, chess, sports. And after the ceremony, he said, "Murad, 1 Nobel to 0. And what I'd like to say in finishing, I want to tell my aeronautical engineer friend who helped build the stealth bomber, 2 Nobel to 0. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murad. You're an inspiration to us. It's our pleasure to welcome and to honor you here today. Our commencement speaker is another medical doctor who has had a profound positive impact on our world, but in very different ways from Dr. Murad. Governor Howard Dean is best known to the world for his campaign for President of the United States in 2004. He lost the nomination that year to Senator John Kerry, but his campaign was the first to effectively use the internet to mobilize tens of thousands of grassroots supporters. I was one. And to set a model that every political campaign now tries to emulate. Governor Dean's presidential campaign was overshadowed by his courageous and outspoken opposition to the war in Iraq, at a time when most Democrats were either supportive of the U.S. invasion to remove Saddam Hussein or unwilling to criticize President Bush at a time of war. He also made history with his use of the internet for grassroots mobilization of young people. The nationwide network he built made him an unassailable candidate to lead the National Democratic Party after the 2004 election of President Bush. Serving as chairman of the Democratic National Committee from 2005 to 2009. His rebuilding of the Democratic Party in a 50-state strategy succeeded both in returning control of Congress to the Democrats in 2006 and to the election of President Obama in 2008. Today, Howard Dean serves as director of the National Democratic Institute, or NDI. NDI is well known in Kosovo for its support of the Assembly of Kosovo, building the capacity of its staff and committees, and for its work training activists and elected officials for all of Kosovo's political parties. It's a great pleasure and a great honor to welcome Governor Dean and to ask him to deliver A.U.K's 2012 commencement address.
President Biaggi, Prime Minister Thatchi, President Hall, honorable ministers and members of Parliament, and diplomatic representatives and friends of Kosovo, and respected citizens of Kosovo. This is a great honor and I appreciate the invitation. I want to talk about several things today. The first is to congratulate Kosovo on the great progress that you have made. And the second is to say that both the United States and the European Union will stand by you, particularly the United States, as you make your entry into NATO and the European Union. There have been turbulent times in the European Union recently, but this still represents the greatest opportunity for prosperity, equality, jobs, and economic growth for Kosovo. We are proud, both the United States and NDI, to be your partner. It is normal inside a country to talk all the time about the things that are wrong with the society. But I come infrequently. The last time I was here was a year ago. And I believe there has been very much progress made in Kosovo in the last year in terms of transparency, in terms of governance, in terms of a constitution which protects minority rights in better ways than any other constitution in the Balkans. But the reason I like to come to Kosovo is because of the attitude of the people. This is an extraordinary country. 5 years ago, you were not a country. And 15 or 16 years ago, many of you or your parents were either refugees or were running for your lives in the middle of a war, which the United States was very proud to take your side in. So there are many things to be done. I was very pleased yesterday to take part in a meeting of the young members of Parliament. 20% of all the members of the Parliament in Kosovo are under 35 years old. So next year I expect some of you to be running for Parliament. But more importantly, alone among parliamentary democracies, you have groups that are working across party lines. I always say, when I come to other countries, we want you to learn from America, but we want you to learn from the good things that America does, not the bad things that America does. One of the problems that we have today in America is that there are politicians who believe their party is the most important thing. The party is not the most important thing. The country is the most important thing. By having a women's caucus that works across party lines, and now perhaps a young youth caucus that works across party lines, that will strengthen the democracy here, and that will strengthen the ability of ordinary Kosovars to influence both the parliament and your government. And that is, of course, true democracy, and we are very grateful that you have suggested that. NDI did not suggest that. The young members of parliament came to us and suggested that and asked for help. Today, I had a meeting with the speaker and chairs of the committees in parliament, and yesterday also with Prime Minister Thaci. And they are looking for ways to open up parliament and make it transparent. I do not know of another country here in this region that makes their parliamentary meetings public by going on public television. I do not know of another country in this region which has a website so that individual citizens can report instances of corruption. Yes, there are problems here in Kosovo, but you are speaking openly of the problems. You have a free and open press that will not hesitate to criticize. That means if you speak about a problem, you can fix a problem, and you are doing that here, and it is very important. Corruption is a threat to the future of Kosovo. Whether it is respect for the rule of law, or citizens' property rights, or free access to public services, or equal justice, we need these basic rights. I'm very proud that President A.U.K has created the Anti-Corruption Council. And there is more work to be done, we understand that. But to name the problem and to discuss the problem openly is the first piece of work to be done, and that does not happen in every nation in this region. Kosovo is going in the right direction. There are other nations that are going in the wrong direction, and you should be very proud of that. But there is more to this ceremony. This ceremony today is a triumph not just for you, and I might say for your parents and loved ones who should be applauded. Perhaps you'd like to give your hand to all the people who helped you get here and helped you through all this. But this is not simply a personal triumph because of your hard work. It is a triumph for a very young country, and it is a triumph for an entire generation. Your generation is the first generation in the history of humanity which is just not simply a Kosovar generation. Your generation is a global generation. There is a direct connection between the young people who are now in this brand new parliament in Kosovo, the young people who elected Barack Obama President of the United States, and it was the under 35 people who did that, and the young people who changed the government in Tahrir Square in Egypt. Many of the people in Tahrir Square were inspired by Nelson Mandela, by Mahatma Gandhi, by Martin Luther King, by Malcolm X, by Rosa Parks. You are a worldwide generation. I am very proud of the connection between the American University and RIT, because this is a worldwide generation. So this is not just about what you're going to do for this wonderful young country with enthusiasm and belief in the future. This is also about how you're going to change your world. The internet is what has created this opportunity to be a citizen of a global generation. The internet is the greatest weapon of empowerment for individuals since Gutenberg invented the printing press 5 centuries ago. It will allow you to draw in knowledge to this country, to your families, and to your own actions from all over the world. But the internet is not enough. The internet is not a substitute for your ability to touch other people. People ask me all the time, how can we use the internet to campaign for election? And I tell them, the internet is a good organizing tool. There is no substitute for personal connections. So the internet will give you a wide range of people that you could never speak with before. But it is your neighbors and your family and even your global neighbors that you have to touch. This is an extraordinary opportunity for this generation. And it is built on the sacrifice of people who fought and died for this country. The great, extraordinary experiences of human being are all encompassed in this room. I will close by telling you something that my father told me many years ago. Of course, like any good 23-year-old, I thought it was ridiculous. But I must have remembered it. He told me, I had one advantage over you. I can look backwards as well as forwards. When I was a freshman in college, 4 years younger than you, some of you, I had two black roommates. These two roommates had never gone to school with a white person before. I had never gone to school with a black person before. And if you had asked us 40 years ago if in our lifetime we would have a black president of the United States, we would have said you were crazy. And if you look at the problems in this country, the problems of a young country, for you who are so young, it's harder to understand how far you've already come. Because 15 or 20 years ago, it would be almost impossible to think for you or your parents that you would one day be graduating from an extraordinary university, allied with American University, and ready to go to any part of the world. Such is the extraordinary capacity for human beings to change. And change is a lifetime of work. Change never stops. You can stop, and if you stop, you will fall behind. We need you always to change. The great thing about young people is the fact that you are impatient. And we need your impatience to drive the change. But the great thing about people our age is that we understand that impatience is not enough, that you must have persistence. Lao Tzu said that the longest journey begins with a single step. If you never take that step, you never make change. But the journey is many steps, and you must keep walking for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Dean. You inspire us by your words and by your leadership. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce the president of RIT, Dr. Bill Dessler. This is Dr. Dessler's third time in Kosovo, and I want to thank him and all of our colleagues at RIT for their continued partnership and support. RIT has been our committed partner throughout A.U.K's history, and we hope this partnership will continue for many years to come. We're honored to have Dr. Dessler here with us again today. Dr. Dessler.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is with the greatest pleasure that I congratulate all of the graduates on reaching this milestone in your lives. In a world in which knowledge is increasingly the differentiator between the successful and the unsuccessful, you are now in a position to make a meaningful contribution to your community, your nation, and the world. It is also a pleasure to acknowledge the families, the wives, the children, and friends of the graduates. It is your support which has in so many cases helped to bring the graduates to this place in time. graduates will continue to need your support as they venture forward. And at this time, I ask the audience and our special guests to join me in recognizing the people who, by their support, love, and encouragement, have contributed so much to the success of these graduates and are here to celebrate with us today. Would the parents of the graduates please rise and be recognized? Come on. Spouses, partners, and children of the graduates, please rise and be recognized. And last, but certainly not least, would the grandparents of the graduates please rise? A.U.K has prepared you well, but you should remember that this is not the end, but the beginning of your education. The most successful graduates are those who continue to learn throughout their lives and who apply that learning to their work. Finally, the A.U.K is not just an American university, but rather an international partnership of the kind that we will increasingly need if we are to work together globally towards our shared goals. As you continue your careers, I hope that you will celebrate both your own national heritage and your common citizenship on planet Earth. We have nothing to lose and everything to gain from working together for the betterment of all. Once again, congratulations and best wishes to all of you. And now, I get the best part. It is my pleasure to confer the RIT Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degrees upon our graduates. And my pleasure, however, is minor compared to those directly responsible for the academic success of our graduates. And I speak of the faculty. They are the teachers, the advisors, and the mentors of our students. I ask that the graduating students join me in honoring A.U.K faculty for a job well done. Will the faculty of the American University of Kosovo please stand and be recognized? To continue your studies or starting your career or engaging in public service, you have the knowledge and skills to be successful and to make a difference. Use them well. Kosovo, the region, and the world need you and your expertise. And now the official stuff. By the authority vested in me, by the Board of Regents of the State of New York, and the Board of Trustees of the Rochester Institute of Technology, I now confer upon you the degree to which you are entitled as certified by the faculty and as signified in the commencement bulletin with all of the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. On behalf of all the faculty, staff, and administration of RIT and A.U.K, congratulations to the class of 2019. I'd like at this time to ask Dr. Joseph Bruna, trustee of the American University of Kosovo, to read the names of the graduates of the Bachelor in Applied Arts and Sciences.
During this part of the ceremony, we will recognize each graduate for her or his accomplishment. As a courtesy to all our graduates and their guests, we ask the graduates to return to your seat after you have crossed the stage and remain seated until the end of the ceremony. I thank you in advance for your cooperation. Dr. It is my pleasure to present to you with the candidates of the Bachelor of Science in Applied Arts and Science degree. Please. Amuda Gresa. Gacin Ademay. Tetik Agushi Arna. Tesor Ahmedi. Narona Ahmedi. Farda Ibazi. Albert Aslami Honor. Pierre Baigora Art. Edona Bayrami. Erman Bayrami, honors. Reza Batali. Dadan Bekay. Caroline Yasemin Bengi. Grace Belisha. Adelina Bilali, honor. Andresha Bishai. Stiponia Bislini, high honors. Alma Buzaleu. Mimosa Budetti. Besarta Bujeta. Nusret Bujala. Hana Zakuli honors. Darshane Zanmasi, high honors. Indiana Cholapo, high honors. Agnesa Despiscu. Diren Dinarama. Nilma Doli, high honors. Loren Dragobuza, honors. Verdushi Pandita. Ramelezai. Ferid Murad is the highest honor. Ferid Yorida Gatere, Krishnik Galani, Tunika Goshi, Abitare Goyani, Dorina Greza, high honor. Lira Gusigna, honors. Exxon Halili. Isan Hachiru, highest honor. Reza Hajiru. Edona Hajiru, Vanir Haziri, Deata Holai, highest honor. Katina Hoja, high honor. Margona Hoja, Teslir Hoja, Valon Husseini, Miroslav Jachimovic, Algulega Yayaga, Yukisa Yankovic, Arbor Yashari, Edona Yanuzi, Nora Yusufi, highest honor. Idan Kada, Aurora Castrati, Besat Castrati, Arlen Kelmendi, Rona Kelmendi, Daulat Komani, Ide Govaci, Slavka Krajkova, Rina Krasnici, high honor. Artur Krasnici, Petrina Krasnici, honors. Elena Krasnici, Lev Kuchi, Renar Yabu, Dardan Lachi, Arnora Latifa, honors. Natija Titi, high honor. Leon Maloshi, Yura Leshi, samimiyeti, high honor. Valor de drama, highest honor. Sten Vitória. Ferid Murad, highest honor. Irina Musa. Ferid Murad, highest honor. Rejai Mustafa. Nita Nishneu. Ferid Nishneu. Manushachi Nura. Nejat Bezi. Get the music. Adriana Petrovic. Endrit Blashniku, high honor. Trilan Kotera, high honor. Tren Kojezu, honor. Hilda Pula. Ridwan Kusina, honor. Saulan Ramabaya, honor. Archita Ramosai, honor. Guyana JP, honor. Donieva Sarchiu, highest honor. Yeda Sarchiu, high honor. Jack Sekulahu. Brigena Seda. Adelina Selmani. Arta Selmani. Laura Shabani. Nyonza Shala. Yola Shuku, highest honor. Bennett City, high honor. Diana Zmijanovic. Adon Soba, honors. Irina Svahil. Davina Svida, high honor. Agresha Sala. Rona Tachi. Vesnik Tachi. Uštrim Tachi. Denis Dordoshi. Antigona Brazza, Afringelini, Butrin Primeri, Lek Zerga, Valbona Zubori, Merita Zogiani, Arnone Zilfeo, and now I would like to introduce Mr. Rezar Spaniu, trustee of American University in Kosovo Foundation, to read the names of the graduates of the Master of Science in Professional Studies degree. Result?
Prindër të American miq dhe miqtar të nderuar, studentë të sabit të nderuar, përshëndetje gjithëve. Unë vi nga Tirana sot për të ndarë të rëndësimin me ju. Ja theksoj nga Tirana, sepse arritjet tuaja sot në Prishtinë janë arritjet tona në Tiranë dhe këto. Ju uroj sukseset më të larta që ta përfoni Kosovën dhe bashkë me të kombin tonë. Sukses! This off-the-script speech out of the way, Dr. Esther and Dr. Hall, it's my pleasure to present you with the candidates for the Master of Science in Professional Studies degree. Candidates? Maria Ayeti Bechir. Urim Bala. Suder Bostraga. Yadon Dragusha.
Can you hold up your diploma?
Arta Efendia. Ardian Hajar. Burim Hajola. Arborita Brazil. Florina Beja Kusumi. Arbor Morina. Artan Blitzer. Leonora Damani. Yazid Sada. Sedat Şenol. Arbrida Suleimani. Mentor Jamali.
Thank you, Dr. Lester. Thank you, Joseph and Bessart. Ladies and gentlemen, you see today the future of Kosovo, the future of this region, the quality of our graduates, their passion for learning, their struggle for an education in many cases, while holding responsible full-time jobs, the sacrifices their families have made to bring them to this day fills me with certainty that among these young people are the leaders who will take Kosovo into a bright, peaceful, and prosperous future. I am proud to know that. Would the American University in Kosovo graduates please rise? You may now move your tassels from the right to the left. Congratulations. Our ceremony is at an end. Thank you to everybody who has worked to make this commencement ceremony a success. Thank you all the parents and friends who have come today to celebrate our graduates' accomplishments. I invite you to a cake reception in the back of the room held immediately following the reception. At this time, the platform party will lead the recessional, followed by the faculty and the graduates. Please remain seated until the academic procession is complete.